Hi, everybody. We want to welcome you in today to the feed. I am Lisa Lopez-Griggs. I am one of the co-hosts here at the feed, Faces of Epilepsy. And I'm so excited to bring on our new guest here today. Not new to our community, but new for the feed, obviously. We're just in our soft launch right now. So excited, actually, to be doing this 3 days a week now. We have an incredible producer. His name is Mike Hall. And Mike, we know you're there in the background. I hope you jump on today with us with our very special guest. You guys you gentlemen, we're talking before the show, and I love the question that you asked Mr. Robert Ferguson, and that is, what did he eat for breakfast? So I actually want to bring you into the show, Robert. So excited to have you on today. We haven't been together for a minute on a show. So excited that we're able to do this.
Well, good to see you, Lisa. Good to be here, and looking forward to having a fun and productive conversation.
Yes, I am too. We really thank God for your life. I really thank you so much for just all that you contributed. I'm sorry to get emotional over it. Last year in November, during Epilepsy Awareness Month, you gave so much of yourself every week to help us get these webinars out, education out about what people could do with regard to their diets, how to eat so that they could bring down their inflammation and become seizure free. And I myself feel like I wish that I would have met you before my son Judah passed away, because I believe that had I had met you sooner, there may have been a chance that my son would have, lived longer and would have been able to change the quality of his life based on the knowledge that you have. So thank you. Thank you so much. We appreciate you so much, just for the Faces of Epilepsy and all that you do for our community. So I want to get into it today. Obviously, your bio is as long as the Dead Sea Scrolls. And I mean, I could go on and on, but I think the best place to start is maybe you give us a little bit of your background, and then I'll fill in the gaps of things that you missed, okay? Because there is one thing that sometimes I think you don't talk about. I want to talk about that pro athlete part today, because I think fitness is a big part of epilepsy, and I think that we need to bring that into the conversation today. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so the short, clinical nutritionist, a guy who is in the space of helping people lose weight, which is what I'm mostly known for. But also get off medications when possible and improve overall health, which means improving all health. And I think one of the connections with our conversations is that I know that the base of all chronic disease is inflammation. And so knowing that, and being someone who also understands this thing called insulin resistance, which is affecting about 93% of the population, the adult population, then they go hand in hand. So that's a big part of my focus. But I've done a lot over the years. As you mentioned, I am a former pro athlete. I've been an athlete my whole life, martial artist my whole life, former U.S. Marine, written 6 books, quite a few manuals, I authored 2 evidence-based clinical trials, which proved or put me in a position where the efficacy of my methodology, or how I teach nutrition, is supported. So it's validated and verified. And I have coaches around the world. So what we do is reproducible. So it doesn't have to be me. It could be any coach. I've worked with a lot of celebrities, a lot of pro athletes. So I know what the headache is like to do that. Don't even look forward to doing that. Turn down way more over the years than I accept clients. And then I'm just in the space of making a difference. And I literally am doing that. So, because you meet people, as you know, Lisa, they talk a lot, but not many people are really doing it. But they're great at talking about it. So I'm in the space of, let's do it instead of talk about it. And there you go. So that's the summation of my background.
Yeah, I love that so much, because I love your heart. It's not just how cerebral you are and how knowledgeable you are and how consistent you are in the space that you're in, because you've been in the space for over, I think it's 30 years now. So you've done so much that I know when people even come to me with different ideas about how things should be done, you have helped me to mitigate and navigate a lot of the false ways of doing nutrition. We've talked about intermittent fasting, we've talked about different omegas, we've talked about, this whole piece around insulin resistance, which is, that's a huge piece. And I think that even plays into seizures. I was reading somewhere, Robert, where I think insulin resistance maybe even play a part into epilepsy. Just not, I know bipolar does, bipolar and the mental health piece is also a trigger for seizures. So, I was in the groups and I was typing in there, like, if you could ask a clinical nutritionist any question about epilepsy, what would that be? And I think most people want to know, is there a way that diet plays a part into mitigating these seizures? Can people actually have less seizures if they eat right? Is it possible?
Well, you actually know the answer to that based on the last 6 months, because your partner, Alyssa, Enrique, who I've met through the work you're doing with epilepsy, both have shared with me that since they have done some of the recommendations as far as nutrition, that they have experienced less frequent seizures, and the intensity of their seizures have been reduced. Now, to me, that speaks volumes. But that's to me, right? Like, some people just aren't looking for improvement, or maybe I think you mentioned medical fatigue, or we just get tired of the noise of everybody saying, do this, do that, this is better, that's better, this supplement, that supplement. It's like, that's the biggest challenge, I think, for like someone who has seizures. I mean, I really believe that I think that is the biggest challenge, because every person is going to have something different to say. And I believe that at the end of the day, there are certain truths that are truths. They're factual. And I think if you can get there and you actually care, then it's worth going down a certain road. Otherwise, you're just guessing. And the voice is not, you know what I mean? Like, everybody's just talking. They're just, it's crazy. Cause I time and I'm like going, for discernment, where's your discernment? But not everybody has the ability or the clarity to learn. So then they can't get it, even though you may get it. So anyway, I think that's the big challenge. So based on the question that you asked, there is a way that you can eat, even in the United States and Canada, because the food and the way it's grown and everything's been so challenged. There is a way to eat and still feel like you're eating and having a good time with food, but yet eat in a way that makes it where you are less.
When I'm in the groups and I'm asking parents of epileptics what they believe, okay, which is basically what you're alluding to, people are confused by all the answers, Robert. There's a big, long list of answers as to all these supplements that I'm going to name off right now. B12, B6, vitamin D, folic acid, calcium, zinc, selenium, black seed oil, someone said their neurologist told them to just give their child Flintstones vitamins. So how do you cut through all of this noise? How do you cut through all this noise as a parent with a child that has epilepsy? Now, I had a son, a teenager, and it was very difficult for me to get him to eat healthy. As much as I shopped for all the fruits and vegetables and things, as you say, close to nature that he loved, he still worked at Little Caesars Pizza. Best friend worked at Wingstop. Other friend worked at The Habit. How do we, I mean, is there some kind of magic that helps us when these kids want to continue to eat the way that they're eating? And then how do we know what supplements to take as a parent or give to our child?
Okay, so this is, it's fun. There's a clip of me probably 16 years ago, and I'm on this, like, you know how we have CNN in the United States, which is global, and you have Fox, like these news stations, and I'm on this one that was in Russia. So it was a European, I forgot the channel, but we were talking about health and wellness and those things, and I made a statement that got everybody like staring and quiet. I said, we talk about healthy, but who defines what is healthy?
So good.
Right? So you're healthy if if you took a whole bunch of people and I said, hey, Lisa, on a sheet of paper, write down, what does eating healthy look like to you? Everybody's going to have a different interpretation of that. And oftentimes about 50% of those people, their interpretation of what's healthy is not what they eat. But what they eat may fit my healthy. So that's where it's so polarizing that we got to get everybody on that level. So if I'm working with a client, I go, okay, let's look at what's healthy and what's not. And then I'm going to substantiate why I'm saying this is healthy for you. So when I think of healthy, I think contributes to my health. When I think of unhealthy, it takes away from my health. Now, you meet a lot of people. Is this the first time you're hearing someone say this?
To a degree.
No, I mean, I'm serious. Like, think about it.
It's funny because yesterday I heard what defines, and it was more of a Christian topic that I was having with my mom. And it was like, what defines, surrender to God, or serving the Lord in those ways, like serving him the way we want to, or the way. So it's interesting. I would imagine that it has to. So no, I'm just going to go with no, I haven't. Not in this circle, not in health. No. Right.
So if you took everybody and we said, okay, let's all get into a room and let's get all of your favorite experts, and each expert you got 2 minutes to define how, like, explain how what you believe is healthy. What does that look like? Everybody's going to say something different, but eventually there's a truth that will come out of it.
So good.
Right. So eventually you're going to have a truth, and then it's up to each one of us to accept that truth, which I'm a big fan in psychology, that there's wanted realities and there's unwanted realities. So with my kids, when we talk, I know what they want. I know what I want. We know what would be great. They're all realities. Some of them are going to be wanted. I want that. And some of them are going to be unwanted. But the common factor, the thread that's true, is that they're realities. So you can eat Twinkies every day and all day, and you can lose weight. That's been proven. A top professor, someone that I've actually interviewed, talked to, did it. He ate Twinkies every day, I think every 3 hours, 3 times a day. He ate a little bit of fruits and vegetables and walked and lost like 20-something pounds in a short period of time. All his metabolic numbers got better. But you could be going, wait a minute, Twinkies are unhealthy. Okay. But what makes it unhealthy? Because There's a guy, and you guys can go on CNN, everybody's, or go to YouTube and type in Twinkie diet. And I'm not telling you to do this, but his goal was to make a point that at the end of the day, for him, having a PhD in dietetics was to demonstrate to everybody that it's about how much you're consuming, not always necessarily what you're consuming.
That's good.
Right. And then there's, if you follow it after that, what happens is if you lose weight and all of your metabolic markers improve, triglycerides, cholesterol, all the things that we look at as key things to watch. If you do it unhealthfully, which I could define, you will see improvements. But if you stay there 3 to 6 months later, all of those improvements will go back to where they were, which weren't good. That's when they get, so sometimes markers that say you're getting healthier are going to only be there for a period of time and then they dissipate.
Interesting.
But it all comes back to biology and physiology.
Right. Makes so much sense.
So for your audience, and B12, take this, take that. My thing is identify your level of inflammation and run with that, because we can look at that through blood work with the basic tests that you and I are aware of, right? So if somebody reaches out to you and they get their inflammation scores, then work from that.
Yeah, I think that's such a good thing because, you know, and you know about the press release that I wrote on the fatty acid profile test. I did that based on the knowledge, you know, that you made me aware of with regard to the fatty acid profile test. I did my own research with regard to omega-3 because I remember coming to you when I first met you last year. And I asked you, I said, have you ever written an article on epilepsy and inflammation? And is there a play here for the supplementation of this omega-3, you know, with high polyphenols? And could it have helped my son? And I think when I first found out that it could, it was actually really painful to hear that truth. And I wonder if people listening today would actually want truth, because truth can sometimes be painful.
Yeah, a lot of people run from it, but eventually.
Say that again, Robert.
Well, a lot of people run from it, but eventually you're gonna have to deal with it in one way or the other. So what I've learned is communication is very powerful on all levels, and that includes communicating with yourself and being informed. And so, and it's not as scary as you may think it's going to be. You know, like whenever I think of what we're talking about right now, there's two things that always is running in my head. One is I think of how people do things as a result primarily because of fear, pain, and pleasure. Right. And they'll wait and procrastinate before they take action. But it's usually those three things. Tony Robbins used to say pain and pleasure, but I throw in fear because I know fear will stop a person from like taking action. Give you an example. My sister's best friend growing up, her name is Lisa. And I lost my sister. That's another story. But Lisa, fast forward, she got breast cancer at a pretty early age. Survived it, went through all of that. Years go by. She gets a lump under her arm. And she's with her best friend all the time. He happens to be gay. Not like, I mean, but it actually is important for everybody to know that based on what I'm sharing. And they're together all the time. That's her buddy. You know, they are one and two. They're like together. So she gets this pain under her arm. And in her mind, she's like, I do not want to go through cancer. I don't want to do that again. So she does nothing, right? She does nothing. And then it started to get worse.
Yeah.
And then it got to the point where a lump came, and then the lump got bigger and bigger, and she couldn't even put her arm all the way down. And one night she's with her buddy, her best friend. The pain was so bad, he goes, "We need to go to the hospital." Now, all that time, she had a fear that it was a cancer. She believed it was. It scared her. She didn't want to. She didn't want to face that again. So finally, the pain caught up with the fear, and they went to the hospital. They get to the hospital. They tell her, "There's nothing we can do. It has spread the cancer all over your body." And she leaves, goes home, and she dies that night.
Oh no.
She goes to sleep and never wakes up again.
And she didn't wake up.
He dies that night. He has an aneurysm.
Wow.
So they found both of them unalive the next day.
Wow.
Oh, true story. And I go, there's so many lessons in that.
Crazy.
And these are people who are like, they were in their either late 30s, maybe early 40s. Gone. So you got stress that played a role in that. You had anxiety that played a role in that.
Yeah, certainly with the aneurysm. Well, hers too, I guess, right? Because she didn't want to face,
I don't know why she died that night. But she had cancer. It was all over her body. She wasn't she was in pain. Went to sleep and didn't wake up.
And there was really not much more they could do for her.
There was nothing they could do for her. They literally, if there was something they can do, usually they'll say, "Hey, look, we got to get you admitted right now." There was nothing. So, and I've heard other people tell stories like that, where they just say, "There's nothing we can do," and you just leave and go home. She wasn't in so much pain, right, that they could, well, we can give you morphine or we could do this and keep you here. But many of us are living on that. We're all impacted by that. And I see the same thing with people who have epilepsy.
100%. I was going to say the gentleman that died of the aneurysm, that is very common with people that have epilepsy that die of SUDEP. This is called SUDEP because there's no other way to explain why they died other than they just passed away, in their sleep from SUDEP.
But here's the part that makes me think about with those people and everybody with epilepsy is, what are you doing to potentially improve your situation?
Amen to that, because epilepsy in medicine is very reactive.
Right. And I'm
has
believing
a seizure, they go to the hospital and then they do whatever their neurologists tell them to do. So people, listen up, all ears, including me. Let's go, Robert.
Well, I mean, I've met many people with epilepsy over the years, and even more since meeting you. And I watched them become informed, and maybe you could help them and help me understand this, and do nothing. Like I could say, "Hey, buy this, and this is why," and they'll go, "Well, let me think of like," and I get that part because, like you said earlier, everybody's saying do something different.
100%.
So
like,
Robert is just
through the noise, right?
Am I just here to? Is it just somebody trying to sell you something? So where does a parent go? Where does the person who is living with epilepsy, like, who do you believe? And that's why I said, if you look for the truth, and then you got certain people from an intellectual standpoint, some people can learn faster than others. Many people will just put it off, even if it does make sense. Not me. And then they're not here anymore. So where would I go? Well, one, I would definitely, if it was me, if I had epilepsy, I would definitely have a conversation with me. because I'm going to show them, they don't got to buy anything from me. But you know what I mean? I'm going to say, "Hey, this makes sense."
Yes, definitely.
And then I would just go from there.
I really want to encourage our audience right now, Robert, and Mike, if you can please put Robert's links, on a ticker on the bottom, but meetrobertferguson.com. You can go there, you can jump on his calendar. He does free 30-minute consultations. Just want to encourage everybody that's a part of the epilepsy community, Faces of Epilepsy, the F.E.E.D. If you're getting this information, please jump on there, meetrobertferguson.com. And then you can get right on his calendar. I mean, this gentleman has all the knowledge that you need, and he certainly has the right heart to help you to kind of cut through all of this noise. Let's talk about omegas, because last year, it just so happened that I was at Haley's house, which is my son Judah's girlfriend, who also has epilepsy, who was also on Depakote. She was on 1,500 milligrams of Depakote. He was on 3,000. And she had put a stop to her seizures and got off of her Depakote, but she had done it through a high omega-3 diet, meaning that she was eating, like you said, fish for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I would wake up to the smell of fish in the morning, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, she'd be eating tuna, walnuts, and I'd be going to the gym with her. She lost 50 pounds. And then it was just at the same time that you were also telling me about this balance oil. And then I was being confronted with this truth, because I had already lost Judah to epilepsy, and I was doing my own research and seeing, oh, wow, there is really something here with a high omega-3 diet. Now, there are also a lot of people that talk about keto diet. And I know that you have, obviously Diet-Free Life is your brand, which is your whole methodology, that actually works and has been clinically proven, and it's all science-based. So what do you think about the keto and the omega-3 and all of that? Like, if there's one supplement that everybody should be taking, I believe it's the balance oil. And I'm don't make any money from the company. I just know about the product through you, and I take the product myself. But had I had known about it, I would have definitely had my son on it. Why do you think it's so important for epileptics to be on an omega-3 like balance oil?
Okay, so that was there's 3 or 4 questions in that.
Yes, I know you're
Right.
capable to do it.
No, I mean, I of course I'm capable. I'm just letting you know.
That was a lot to unpack.
Well, I mean, and there's probably something that I may miss, but number one, I would go to the keto diet. I don't have a problem with keto, carnivore, whatever diet that people want to go with. My question is always, what are you not getting? So it's not what you're doing, it's what you're not doing, what ends up becoming the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What's the gentleman Peterson? He's a pretty popular psychologist.
Jordan Peterson?
Yeah, Jordan Peterson.
Mm-hmm.
So his daughter got on nothing but protein, kind of like a keto omnivore type thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
For years. She's been on 6-7 years. She said all these things cleared up. And most recently, she's back to eating carbs. He went on and on about not eating carbs, and it was working for him. And you look at a lot of these people that are influencers, and they do it for a long time, and a lot of people jump on board, or they feel like I'm going to do it because they did it.
Mm-hmm.
That's influence traps. Because you're doing it because of an influencer, there's no science really behind it at all.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know some really good gastroenterologists. Do you know any gastroenterologists, Lisa?
I know one.
Okay. Are you
Her
close?
name's Dr. Becky.
Are you close with her?
Yes, pretty close with her, actually.
I have not
Close
met
enough
one.
to get her on the phone. I could get her on the phone with you.
Okay, well, my point is, I've never met a gastroenterologist who says to avoid fruits and vegetables. They look at the colon. I mean, okay, this is what I call just people. So, because they'll say, well, my doctor does carnivore, my doctor recommends keto. Okay. there's doctors, there's family, there's cardiologists, like there's different specialties. If the doctor is a gastroenterologist and they look at the colon every day, all week, they went to school for it, that's what they do. Why are they not doing carnivore and keto? Because they know the importance of dietary fiber.
Exactly.
They know the importance of it. Now, your other physicians, they're not special. That's not their specialty. So my whole thing is like, all people got to do is just take a moment and think. And think about, okay, what foods have been around on the planet forever and ever and ever. And that'll help them realize, okay, well, maybe there must be some benefits to eating fruits and vegetables, right? Like you go to Tanzania and you have the Hadza, and they have like one of the healthiest guts being studied in the world today. They don't die from type 2 diabetes and high blood pressure, and they eat tubers and fruits, and they destroy honey. They eat it all day, every day. You know how many dietitians and nutritionists have said that, you know, cut down on the honey because high in sugar. It's like, people, let's just use some, like, and it's really mind-blowing to me how smart people are in their professions, but how woefully ignorant they are when it comes to nutrition.
Love your new word.
Yeah. It's
woefully ignorant.
Yeah.
Woefully ignorant. Love it.
And there's still obstinate. You still got the obstinate people. Right?
Yes, and obstinate. Yes, that's scriptural.
So, but when it comes to keto, right, or you look at autism with kids who go on the keto, you're bringing down inflammation. And so then you don't have that same electrical kick that can throw a person into having a seizure. So I see it. It makes sense. But at the same time, we don't get an adequate amount of omega-3s. And our bodies are fighting and blocking a lot of the omega-3s we do get from getting to the cells. And that's a enzyme system that is in our body, how we're wired. And it's because of how the food is that even when you're eating fish, sometimes if you're eating a lot of other things that messes with that breakdown, then you'll still be out of balance. So we know through many studies that people are living with the insufficiency, not necessarily a deficiency, but an insufficiency of omega-3s. And balanced oil just happens to have a really good omega-3 because it has what is accompanied by these things called polyphenols. And polyphenols are very protective in keeping the omega-3s in a structure where it can get to the cell membrane where we need it. And right now, there's no other. I have not seen any other product, and I've looked at 22 different products that people took, and when we tested them, they didn't do what balanced oil does. So for me, it fills a nutrition gap that 99% of the population has, and 98% of the 99 have no clue that they're living with insufficiencies.
Yeah, I also, Robert, like I love when you kind of differentiate what is a supplement, right? Like what our body actually needs to be supplemented with, because my understanding is that the omega-3s, our body doesn't produce those. It's something that we get from our mother, right? In utero. Is that correct? So we have to supplement our body with it?
No, you have to. So omega-3 fatty acids and omega-6 fatty acids are classified as essential. And all that means is that you must eat it, otherwise you won't get it. And if you don't eat it, then it creates a disturbance on certain parts of your health. And potentially, if you didn't get it at all for a long period of time, there's a potential of being unalived, right? So they're essential, and that's
Okay.
both omega-3 and omega-6. So you got to get it through food. And there's foods that we've eaten that's very rich in omega-3s that are plant-based. You got fish, which is obvious, but it doesn't have to be through fish. It could be through a lot of different things that you get off trees and eat, like from on the ground, or get from
Avocados.
dirt. Huh?
Avocados would be one, right?
Well, there's a little bit in avocados. There's a plant that in the United States, and it's slipping me right now, starts with a P, and it's very rich in omega-3s. It's the most rich plant-based food that you can eat. It's high in omega-3s, and it grows wild in the United States and Canada.
Wow.
So it's
Mike,
looked at as
maybe you could figure that out for us in the background.
You see it in cracks. Like if I go outside right now and walk down the street, and you know how you have the sidewalk, and you look at the little cracks, it grows there. Let me see. So as I talk about it,
Okay, I think you pulled it up here. Is it flax? It's pea, walnuts, hemp seeds. Nothing with a P though. See, flax seeds, chia seeds, hemp seeds.
No, I mean, okay, there's a little conspiracy where I'm going with this, right? So look up, it's
is it called purslane? Purslane?
Yes.
Okay. Purslane, yes. A leafy green with surprisingly high ALA content.
There you go. Purslane.
Yeah.
Purslane is when you look, like if he pulls up a picture of it, you see it. It's considered a weed in the United States. So they actually, big companies like Bayer that bought Monsanto, they actually look at it as like it's horrible. But if you go to Mexico, or if you go to like Greece, they put it in like all their foods. Like when they're doing a stir fry.
Oh, wow.
It's in like a lot of the food. And it's been, I mean, we're talking thousands of years. Like India, they eat this, right? And look up, see if you can look up purslane as far as in cracks, like looked at as a weed. So we actually
there it is right there. There's the image right there, Robert.
Yeah, we have weed. There you go. We have weed killers. Like these companies make weed killers, and they kill that.
What?
Yeah. And we were eating that was just in everything. So when you go back in history and you look at, you understand how we got to where we are. So something like this that is actually healthy for you, that is helping with brain health, reducing inflammation, all of those things, we have demonized it in this country.
Gosh, wow.
And so people go, well, why is it that so many people, like in 1960, nobody was out of balance with their inflammation scores? But today, like 99%. Well, we don't eat that anymore. We don't eat fish the way we used to. The way the animals are fed is different. Like so many things put us in a place where we have these problems. So it is what it is. I know how we got here. And in my book, I'm actually sharing with all of this. It's like, in order to move forward, I'm a big believer that it helps to know from whence we've come.
So good.
And then I also am a big believer in what you hear many people say. If you don't know your history, it's likely to repeat itself. So we're living in a place right now where more people we're the most inflamed. We have every year it gets worse. Obesity's out of control. And then you got propaganda and people lying. Like Oprah says that obesity causes obesity. I'm like, what?
What?
And there's an obesity gene. Like what she's been saying is crazy. And then they're pushing these GLP-1 drugs, which was interesting. Not to like confuse anybody, but this is getting into nutrition part.
Yeah, it's good.
When you're on a GLP-1 drug, one of the things that they're not telling anybody is that being on a GLP-1 drug, you lose weight because you're malnourished. That's the fact.
Wow.
Right? You're not eating.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're not eating. So of course you lose weight. It's not like it's a drug that causes your body to burn more fat. It's not like a thermogenic. And no one's even talking about that part. Like if you, I mean, like most people who lose weight on the GLP-1 drug don't even know that they're losing weight because they're not eating. It's not like it's creating anything. And then if you use discernment and you go, okay, so Robert, if you're a nutritionist, I have a question for you. I go, yeah, what's the question? Well, when I eat a regular meal, how long does it take for that meal when I eat it to actually digest and get absorbed? And I would go about 2 to 4 hours. So that means if I eat some chicken and rice and broccoli, in 4 hours, it's out of my gut, it's gone. I go, yeah, 2 to 4 hours.
Wow.
But if I'm on a GLP-1 drug, how long does it take to do the same thing? About 12 to 24 hours.
Wow.
So wait a minute. That's like if it makes sense naturally to bake chicken for 45 minutes to an hour, that would be like 2 to 4 hours. But what would happen if you bake chicken for 12 to 24 hours? Same temperature. Everything changes. It goes against what's autonomic.
Right.
And then at the same time, when you're malnourished, you're inflamed. Because if food sits in your system, insulin is constantly being secreted. If insulin is secreted, that turns on a whole bunch of problems. I mean, I would like to know, like with people who have epilepsy, I'm going to guess that they don't recommend GLP-1 drugs for people with epilepsy.
I'm going to ask it now in the groups.
Yeah,
I'm going to ask in the groups. But I want to hear what Mike has to say to this.
All right, Mike's in the house, everybody.
Yeah.
Hey. You got on GLP. We're getting close. Yeah, I don't want to. This is for Robert.
Yeah. I love it.
Hey, Robert, I just want to.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. So, little fun there. But you brought up the GLP-1, and that's what I wanted to ask you about. So, real fast, a couple of things there. One, I do know a couple of people with epilepsy who are on Ozempic as well. The doctor prescribed that to them. But the more I look into it, and I think we all know people on Ozempic or something like that. And I'm in the Midwest. Let me explain to you, from being from the North Texas area. When I moved originally to Hawaii and then LA, one of the things I was originally surprised about was how many skinny people there were. Like literally, if you never have lived in another place, you don't understand how overweight your community is, because it's just your community. But I promise you, probably, I would say well over 50% of everyone here is at least 20 pounds overweight, like going to the mall and that kind of thing. So many people are on these drugs out here. However, every single one of them feels sick, like all the time. They seem to have a plethora of other issues and problems, specifically digestive. And then you said something earlier, which I thought was interesting, about inflammation. We kind of went past it real quick, but I wanted to bring it back. And that was, you were talking about the electrical pulses that throw off with inflammation, which I think is a very, very important indicator and factor for folks with epilepsy, is those, those firings there. So if you could speak a little bit about some of the harmful side effects that you're aware of the, the Ozempic style drugs, GLP-1, but for us folk, it's Ozempic is what he's talking about, and the derivatives of Ozempic. If you could talk about that, and then maybe touch on the electrical pulse thing with inflammation you were talking about a little bit as well.
Well, it's interesting. Okay, so with GLP-1 drugs, you lose weight. And so we live in a world where we can't see the forest through the trees. Or it's like a smoke and mirrors tend to like grab people from a marketing standpoint. So yes, you're losing weight. So I'm looking in the mirror. This is working. I don't know what that Robert Ferguson guy is talking about, but I am down 60 pounds. Woohoo! Well, behind the scenes, insulin is elevated. So you have metabolic health issues. We're starting to see people, as they drop weight, more people are getting fatty liver. So why are they getting fatty liver? Most people, if you lose weight, you get rid of fatty liver because that is a metabolic thing taking place on the backside. And insulin, when it's elevated, can interfere with your body burning fat. So most of the weight loss is not fat loss. It's coming from skeletal muscle. That's why a lot of times you see people, not just because they lost weight really quick, they got the Ozempic face, they got the Ozempic butt, right? They look older, and that's happening to a whole bunch of people. They just look older because they're on these drugs. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that insulin's elevated. They're not losing fat, they're losing skeletal muscle. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, when it gets to the point where when we're stimulating or increasing the likelihood of those electrical like impulses that result in a seizure, think about, I bet most of the women, when they have their cycle and they're epileptic, is probably when they have most of their seizures, because a lot of the shifts that are taking place in the body, and insulin goes up. Wherever insulin's living, you have inflammation. So inflammation and insulin is like a two-sided coin. Inflammation drives insulin, and then insulin supports inflammation, because insulin is an anabolic hormone, meaning it causes growth. Insulin is responsible for how energy is utilized in the cells. Most people think of insulin because of diabetics getting sugar out of the blood, but it's responsible for how energy is used in the cell. And what's unique about insulin is that every cell in your body, brain cells, liver cells, muscle cells, bone cells, you name it, has a receptor for insulin. So insulin affects everything. And when it's elevated, that's not a good thing. So you want to eat in a way where insulin is down, and if insulin is down, inflammation's down, then you're going to see people have less seizures, and I bet you the intensity of those seizures goes down.
Yeah, you know what? Also, too, I just want to say that even I've noticed, Robert, that women that are going through menopause that have epilepsy. So I saw it in the epilepsy, the women in epilepsy groups talking about that when their hormones shift, they start having more seizures. So I would agree with that, definitely.
Oh man, and that gets really interesting with menopause, right? Because when you look at menopause, cell signaling is very important. So then we get back to cell membrane fluidity. And if you don't have an adequate amount of omega-3s in your cell membrane, then you reduce cell membrane signaling, which means the communication from estrogen, progesterone, you name it, the production, everything is reduced. So everything's thrown off. And when things are thrown off, then that means you got forced, like your body's forcing it. Your pancreas pushing more insulin. And as a result, you have disruption. Boom. You have electrical impulses. Everything's elevated. Seizure.
So it just crazy.
And you know what? If you follow the pathways, right? So if I was sitting on here with 5 doctors, neuroscientists, you name it, they would go, no, actually, that's a good point. Right? They're not going to say no to what I'm saying. Not live, right? Not on the video, because you can go open up the biology book, neuroscience, it's all going to be right there. They just haven't thought about it, or they are indoctrinated and they are just doing what has been protocol. But they're smart.
Well, yeah, most doctors, they got a degree. They went to school for 8 years and got a degree. I don't know if they're smart. Anyway, when you go see your neurologist and you're like, I'm on this med and this med, been on them this long, introducing this into my diet has allowed me to reduce the meds on my own very carefully. So, the goal is to, be on the most natural, least amount of meds as possible. And the guy looks at you is like, take more B6, call me in 6 months. Like, well, that's
Mhm.
not I didn't need a neurologist for that. Well, you better
Mhm.
not put a copay on my bill. But for that, but anyway, I love how you are able to deal with, both sides of the gender spectrum.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to ask you is a lot of men are on testosterone supplements, like your Total T, or just you mentioned the carnivore diet, the keto diet.
Mhm.
Um, how does inflammation affect that? And what changes or supplements do we need to make in our daily diet if you are on a testosterone? I'm not, but I know people that are. Or you're a guy who's trying to do the high
Mhm.
testosterone diets, the
Mhm.
things that you're basically sold, right?
Mhm.
What is your advice there?
Well, it's what's the name of that movie, The Greatest Showman?
Yes.
With you, yeah,
Okay, love that movie.
yeah.
Um,
Me too.
and based on what you just said, made me think about it
Mhm.
because I keep going back to omega 3s. And then everything the answer can't always be omega 3s. And the reality is when you like I had a lady who was having a challenge with absorbing iron. So the first thing they did was they tried putting on some supplements. Young kids, like 15 years
Mhm.
old girl,
Mhm.
couldn't go to school, always tired. And you
Mhm.
can test, right? So her iron levels are low. So it's not like we're guessing.
Yeah.
And then they were like, let's do an infusion.
Mhm.
And then she did another infusion a few months later. So whenever she gets back to that place where she's not getting enough iron and she's tired and she's lethargic, now
Mhm.
they just do an infusion. So then I met them and I got them to do a test. We found out she was out of balance. We could see that she wasn't getting enough omega 3s. We put her on balance well. She's now balanced. No more infusions. So then the question is like, wait a minute. How is like a lack of iron
Mhm.
tied into omega 3s? Well, if you go look it up, you'll see that you increase iron absorption by 30% when you're not insufficient with omega 3s. So her problem was never iron.
Mhm.
It was not getting enough omega 3s. And so my clients, I have 33 now that no longer have dry eye. Their problem wasn't not wearing shades outside.
Mhm.
They
Mhm.
didn't have enough omega 3. So you start to see it in a lot of areas. And I would say the same thing when it comes to menopausal symptoms
Mhm.
and when it comes to guys with
Mhm.
testosterone
Definitely.
issues.
Mhm.
But you can force the body to respond, right? You can force it
Mhm.
to do things if you overload it. And that's what happens with insulin, right? At first, insulin, which is primarily known for getting sugar out of the blood and into the cells. Well, once the cells start to become resistant, your pancreas has to push out more insulin.
Mhm.
And the cells start to get more resistant, and then it
Mhm.
has to push out more. So
Mhm.
if it has to keep pushing out
Mhm.
more, now you have elevated insulin floating around the body. You're insulin
Interesting.
resistant.
Yeah.
Well, what does insulin resistance trigger? It plays a huge role to you having high blood pressure.
Mhm.
So before you had high blood pressure, you were likely to have insulin resistance.
Mhm.
Before you had PCOS, which is insulin resistance of the ovaries, you
Mhm.
had insulin resistance. But what do they do with someone with PCOS? Is they put them on metformin, and they say this is going to help because metformin helps to bring down the sugar in the body. Well,
Mhm.
but you never really address the insulin part. So if they had addressed the insulin part, they would never have needed metformin, and they wouldn't have PCOS. You see what I mean? Like it's,
Mhm.
and then what happens if you follow the pathways? Because trust me, I'm as smart as the average person who has decent intelligence. I just happen to, in my career, get to a place where I understand pathways. And so I'm always looking at, well, let's follow the pathway. Well, every
Mhm.
doctor knows that, but they don't make time to do that. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
they're not doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't have time.
Mhm.
I mean, they got a patient go, patient go, patient go. I'm tired. Let
Mhm.
me have a drink, go home. Hey, kids, woo, let's do this again tomorrow. They don't
Mhm.
have the time
Mhm.
that I have to write articles, to look at pathways, to call other
Mhm.
experts, to challenge myself. Anyway, that was a long, I hope I answered it, Mike, somewhere in there.
I think
Absolutely.
you did, because I think there's something there with the pathways, Mike. Like, I know that Robert really studies these pathways. And I think that even when epileptics are on medications, I'm sure that plays a part in these pathways. And I know, Mike, when we did the shows, that week on medical burnout, and I just feel like people are just medically burnt out by their
Mhm.
neurologists. They really are. They're medically burnt out and they are looking for other solutions. So I would imagine that medications even play a part, Robert, in if people are on Depakote or Keppra, or does that play a part in their diet, like how these supplements are received, I
Mhm.
guess? Like, could
Yeah.
that deplete their bodies of the nutrients and minerals and things they need?
Well, if you just ask yourself, like I was talking to my daughter the other day, because she discovered ibuprofen, that for certain things, because she gets headaches here and there, right? And I'll just take some ibuprofen. I said, let's look and see how ibuprofen works. Like, what do you mean, Daddy? Because most people are detached. Like, it's like Tylenol,
Mhm.
acetaminophen, right? How does it work? Like, what makes it where I take it, ooh, I feel so much better. And you literally get into like the omega pathways, right? Kind of like your friend with the endocannabinoids when you start looking
Right.
at, right? It's all in the
Mhm.
same pathways. You're
That's right.
basically,
Mike likes this conversation.
yeah, well, you're basically blocking and numbing certain things, and you didn't fix anything.
This is really high level, everybody, right now. We're going
Okay,
high,
but I'm just
high
saying,
level
what
with
happens
these
is
neural pathways.
you turn things off.
Mhm.
My point being, start asking yourself if you have that capacity. Like, why does this work? And I think
Mhm.
if you do that, like I was going to do that with Alyssa, it's like, let's look at each one of your drugs, not so much the side effects, but let's actually see what makes it work. Let's follow the pathway because it's all there. And now with Gemini and Chat GPT, it's
Mhm.
so you could type it in and go, I'm taking this med. What is the pathway? If you use the right words and you understand the basics,
Mhm.
and then you say, can you make this 6th grade reading level? Can you walk me through it step by step? What's the first thing I need to know about this drug? Not the side effects, but what makes it work. Once you start doing that, you start going, oh, and you will wake up and be like, okay, I'm now fully informed.
So good. Mike, I don't know what else to say, because that knowledge right there, Robert, to me, it puts the power back into the hands of the consumer. It shows how much you have a heart to not be a gatekeeper, but to be a guardian of people's dreams and a guardian of their health. And it's just so beautiful. Mike, what do you think of that? Because I really think this whole neural pathways and these pathways are something to it with regard to the medication, and then of course the omega-3 and the balance oil. And Robert, I just love that people are going to be able to get in touch with you, and I'm just so grateful that we can do these educational webinars over and over and over again, especially with epilepsy, International Epilepsy Day coming up on Monday. Robert, we just hope we can do this more and more and more with you. I really want to,
I
Mike,
love it.
push
Well,
him out more.
I'm loving what he has on the screen right now. I'm like,
I
this.
I wanted to make sure that we had it in writing on the screen. You're not making anything up. You're not saying this is an opinion. You're not saying, hey, there's no studies on this, but we really believe it. No. Omega-3 fatty acids, particularly EPA and DHA, found in fish oil, have been shown to reduce seizure frequency in individuals with epilepsy, especially those with drug-resistant forms.
Nice.
So it's been shown. The studies and the science backed up everything we've said today legitimately, to the point of giving us specifics on different kinds of epilepsy. And I really wanted to make sure that everything we said today, everyone can see is 100% backed up by legit tested science. So very important and valuable there. I wanted to make sure we got that in.
No, that's nice. And there's a lot of studies. And here's the thing that I would, to summarize my point on balance oil, you can test it because not all omega-3s are equal in quality. So when you can test it, and that's the game changer. Because, you know, I meet people, and Lisa's been on some calls even recently. People say, oh, we have an omega-3. I go, you are not hearing what I'm saying. I get that you have an omega-3, but how do you know it works? And I'll never forget, I don't know if you know who Dr. Judy Mikovich is, Mike, but she is always in the ear of Mr. Kennedy, and she's a dear friend of mine. And I was sitting with her, and we were going through some pathways for autism. And we were looking at glutathione and all these different things. And as we were going through the pathways, I said, you just jump right over omega-3. And she was like, oh, no, I always recommend omega-3s. I said, yeah, but how do you know they work? And she stopped, and like, I'll never forget, she just looked at me because she is a scientist. And she goes, well, like, what do you mean? I said, well, there's a test. And once I told her, she goes, oh, well, let's go with what you're saying. Like, she didn't even need to look, which she obviously got to see, but she was like, if there's a test to prove that this is actually working, why wouldn't any scientist go with that? But when you're talking to the average person who's conflicted or compromised because they're making money selling their omega-3, they don't care about a test. They just want to make their money. So that means they don't care about you, right? So you gotta, like, and that's why, you know, I'm pulled into balance oil, because remove the test, what would I be talking about? I would just say, hey, everybody, go get an omega-3, which I've done for years. You take away the test, man, I have nothing to say about balance oil. But because of the test, it's not my opinion, it's not you guys' opinion. Let's just look at the results. You can't keep that. Everybody, everyone watching this, get tested. Come to me if you don't go to Lisa. Lisa can point you to Alyssa, and they can help you out as well.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Coaches under you. Yeah, I definitely think that everybody should get tested for sure, Mike. That is one of the big things that every epileptic should definitely take a fatty acid profile test, because they should know their inflammatory markers. And it's not something that's recommended by neurologists. You would have to know this information. You would have to hear this information from Robert or someone that came across Robert's path that was able to tell him. This is not something that your neurologist is going to tell you. They're not gonna recommend it, and they are not gonna recommend an omega-3. No neurologist I ever was at, and no neurologist that I've ever known about through other epileptics has ever said that. Not Enrique, not Alyssa. I don't know if yours has. I've talked to other epileptics, and no, it's never been recommended. Never.
Absolutely. All right, guys, as we say our goodbyes, I'm going to hop off. I just want to remind everybody tonight, 9 p.m. in the Faces of Epilepsy group, we go live. That's 9 p.m. Central. I apologize. That's 9 p.m. Central, 7 Pacific, or California time, as we like to say, 10 p.m. East Coast. But we
Is it 5? Wait, we're all messed up on our times.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about tonight is 9 p.m. my time. When we go live
9 your time, so it is 7. Okay.
7 your time.
Yeah.
10 p.m. for my New York and East Coast
there
friends.
We go.
Now, Mike, where are you in the Midwest?
I'm in Oklahoma.
Oh, I love Oklahoma.
Yeah, man. I'm a Sooner. My wife is currently in the PhD program for reading. Not like she's a good reader already. I'm saying for children, to teach children to read. But she's in the PhD program there, teacher, and I do this and do a lot of community work. Yeah, man, we love our community. Born and raised here, was in Hawaii, was in LA, and You know how and Dallas, and you know how God sometimes brings you right back to. And I'm in the college town. We're big Sooner fans here.
Okay, nice. Now, have you ever eaten a fish called crappie?
Oh yeah, crappie. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
go
can
get
get.
crappie. That's easy. You can get like 10, 20 when they're running. Yeah, it's a river fish, right?
Yeah,
So or
and
stream fish. Yeah, you
yes.
catch them in the stream. Sorry.
So in Indiana, we have crappie, and I'm
Yeah.
telling you, Lisa, this is my favorite fish to eat. But you can't buy it in the store. You have to go fish it. Like it's the law, right? So
Wow.
it's kind of it's Indiana. And I go, man. I go on Facebook. Is there anybody going fishing this week? I will buy as much crappie as you can find. Now,
Oh.
here's something for you to know, Mike. Crappie is so good, and it's, oh man, so good. Crappie is very rich in omega-3s.
Which is good because a lot of people don't know that freshwater fish is a different animal than saltwater fish.
Yes.
As far as the nutrition, what they provide, yes.
Mm.
And it can be harder to find heavy omega-3s in freshwater fish versus saltwater fish. I didn't, yes, absolutely.
Oh man, I could eat 20, 30 crappies. Like I just sit and just with hot sauce, man. Woo!
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, I'm a Louisiana Red and then a Cholula man. Those are my two kind of go-to hot sauces, by the way. So.
Oh yeah, I was Louisiana. I was red hot, but I'm Cholula now, 100%.
Yeah, Cholula. Yeah, I love that. And then side note, something you mentioned about honey, since we're just talking about fun foods here, I make sure every morning I have a tablespoon of honey. One, because I found it very good for your blood sugar levels. And in the morning, it helps. And it helps with cravings, like with sugar, that kind of thing. And two, I recommend everybody do it because it's better than it's better than anything you could purchase, a 5-hour energy. Just take a level tablespoon of honey and eat that in the morning, raw honey, and you will be like, bing!
Well, you know,
it's
to
wonderful.
make sure I get my honey every day, which I'm in full agreement with you. I have raw honey. I do a tablespoon in my coffee.
Yeah, well, me too. Well, I put it in my coffee. I was just saying, but yeah.
Okay, yeah. Every
and
morning,
it's a meditation. Man. Yeah, and it's a meditation and a prayer. I say as I put it in versus sugar or anything, because honey is gold, honey is royalty, honey is ancient. They speak about it in the Bible and even the Bible text. And so I put it in, and I thank God for the blessings and the gold in my life. You know what I mean? And wealthy is an idea, wealthy is an understanding, wealthy is an acceptance of what God has for you. So no matter where I'm at in this world, maybe, or no matter what the bank account says, I put that tablespoon of honey in my coffee, and I thank God for the delicious and the gold and the blessings as I get that engine going with my black fuel coffee. So, yes, sir.
I'm with you.
Yeah,
well, thank you, man. This was fun. Thank you both for letting me come on the platform, and I'm here anytime. Just let me know.
Love it. I love it so much. It was so amazing, Robert, to just reconnect with you. Just have a show with you again. And oh my gosh, thank you so very much. I hope you come back. I hope that we do this more often. And Mike, what do you think about that? I think we should have you on more. And I think you should be working with Mike as well.
No, I like Mike. Mike is good. He's a pro.
Yeah. And I think actually Mike has, I know that you love comedy, and he's a comedian of sorts. He's open for Chappelle and who else, wow. Mike?
Yeah, Chappelle, Cat Williams, Steve-O from Jackass, Brad Williams, a little midget, and then a bunch of lesser names but are legends like your Jim Florentines and Sam Tripoli's. That, all done tons of work, albums, Comedy Central specials, just worked with them. And I had my own TV show at one time. This was about 20 years ago. Nice. It was called Man versus Bar. I would not do it today. In fact, I'm sober today. But back when it was kind of a hit thing on G4 TV, me and a buddy went to bars, just different bars, and drank and did the, chug competitions and met, the patrons and owners.
Nice.
So, yeah, absolutely. But regardless of that, retired now, we produce and we're about health and we're about doing good things for folks. Yeah. But I want to thank you so much. And if it would be okay, I think, we do a Monday, Wednesday, and a Friday show. And if you ever say, hey, I'm available Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, whenever, Lisa, your thoughts about you have a standing invite. Yeah. any one of
Yeah,
those days
we'd
that
love
you're
to have you
available.
on, Robert.
Yeah.
Anytime you say you want to come on. I just think that you have so much value to add into
Yes.
the world. And I've said that to you from the moment I met you,
And
that
brother,
I just want to put you and get you in front of as many people that are seeking truth, that
Well, thank you.
want truth around their own health and want to advocate for themselves with regard to their health, that we would be able to put you in front of as many people as we can, certainly in the epilepsy community.
and we need more men. What I notice about this
Yeah.
epilepsy community is that there's just not a lot of men in it. And well, and you know why? Because any weakness in us admitting there's something in our life we don't have control over, and that kind of thing is heavy. So we don't always want to advertise that. Women are
Mhm.
usually better about being honest and trying to find a solution for problems in this realm. So having you here to help us, and
Mhm.
you're a guy's guy, and being able to talk to you and being able to have you represent is, I think, huge for men who have
Mhm.
epilepsy. I don't know. I know you know Enrique a little bit. He's a good buddy. We do a sports
Mhm.
podcast where we talk about sports stuff now too. And Enrique is an absolute warrior for the cause. And
Mhm.
I'm trying to recruit all the guys I can. And so thank you. And we absolutely need your voice in this.
All right. Well, keep me posted.
Yes, for sure. So thank you so much, Robert, for being with us today. We love you. We pray all God's blessings upon you, and good luck with your book that's coming out in November. We're
November.
excited, and we hope to be able to help you with getting that out in front of people as well. So thank you so much, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Have a
God
good one.
bless.
Bye
Bye,
bye.
everybody. Thanks for joining us. Signing off.